everybody. It's Brindley, and it's Sunday night. And every Sunday night around 8 o'clock, between 8 and 8:30, I come on and just give you about 10 or 15 minutes of something to think about for the week, something to kind of get your head back in the week. I trust that you have an amazing weekend. I sure did. I got a lot of quiet time at home. I got to go to Top Golf. I got to eat an ice cream sundae. What else did I get to do? I got a lot of work caught up because I have something big coming up, so I have to get all caught up before I do that. But tonight I want to talk about the nervous system. And it's a buzzword that we kind of toss around now, and we treat the nervous system as something that, excuse me, can just be hacked, rewired, pumped full of whatever, and we'll correct it. And really, that's not how it works. A recent study showed that 80% of doctor visits are attributed to stress. And that is chronic nervous system activation, which means we've now taken the nervous system because the stress is causing the nervous system to shut down, and we now have a physical issue, not an emotional one. And most people think, oh, crying, emotion, reaction, all of that, all of our lives, especially in business, we're told, oh, she's just emotional. They're just emotional. When actually what that is an overloaded nervous system. The nervous system just hasn't been wired to know how to handle that situation, or the situation that it's facing, it doesn't feel safe. So let's back up for a minute. Let's talk about the nervous system. So I'm kind of a nerd. I have this human brain book on my coffee table. And so I got this wild idea, like, of course, 10 minutes before this call, to go in and see what it said about the nervous system. And of course, it has only 3 pages on the nervous system, and this is one of them. And it's the whole body, can you see that, of the nervous system. And the most important thing that it talks about is the 3 nervous systems that exist. So you obviously have your central nervous system, which your central nervous system is the coordinating system for the body. That's where your spine and your brain basically are. Then you have the peripheral nervous system, which is the network that connects the brain and the spinal cord to the rest of the body. And then you're going to have the automatic nervous system, which is part of the central nervous system, but that's what makes all of those unconscious, we just do it because our body knows to do it, like our heartbeat, breathing, those type of things. So all 3 of these make up your central nervous system. And if we go back, something that we've talked about on previous calls is that we are actually in our grandmother's womb. So what does that mean? A woman is born with a certain amount of eggs, and those eggs are formed by a certain time during a woman's pregnancy. So therefore, when your mother was inside of your grandmother, her eggs were already formed, meaning your egg was in your mother's womb, which was then in your grandmother's womb. So what we've learned through science is that actually through DNA, by being in the womb, your nervous system, you start to be programmed as an egg before you even become fertilized. And that's why we can carry trauma or systemic pattern and never have met our parents. A lot of times that happens with adoption, or in my case where I didn't know one of my parents, or I started to find out things later, which I'm finding out now, and now things are starting to make sense. I'm like, oh, that's why I do that. I get this from that side of the family because that's what they struggled with, because it's not from this side. And again, guys, it's not blaming family. It's finding out, did I inherit this or did I choose it so that I can change it? Because if I inherited it, it's not mine. And I started carrying it for a reason. And that's what the nervous system will do. So, how long does it take to rewire the nervous system? 6 to 12 months is how long they say on average it takes to recover from burnout. And burnout is when your nervous system just hits its max. It says, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I am done. I've got nothing left in me. Something has to change or I'm going to shut down. And if your nervous system shuts down, your whole body shuts down. But yet we say, just run more, do more, take more supplements, take peptides, do all the things, do all the life hacks to calm yourself down and to make yourself feel better, when really we need to just relax. So how do we calm the nervous system? Well, first and foremost, the nervous system wants safety. Always. It doesn't want strategy. It doesn't want more things to do. It wants safety. Our nervous systems have been programmed for survival. That's why all of us react to different things in different ways, because we had to develop these survival tools, if you will, based on the environments that we were raised on. Now, some of these are instinctual. Obviously, hunter and gatherers, those are instinctual programming that we have based on generations and generations and generations of instinctual survival. So we have to have food, we have to have water, we have to have air in order to live. So, of course, there's going to be those as well. So, how do we begin to heal the nervous system? Well, for me, I had to change everything. And, I'm very grateful for the people in my life that help teach me the lessons. Um, and I'm always grateful and humble to ask for forgiveness for not knowing what I didn't know, and for knowing what I did know and not choosing to change it at the time. And the reality is, what I'm learning about this work is that the nervous system regulates all of it. The nervous system decides when we want to grow. The nervous system decides when we're ready to handle it, when we can handle more. And the reality is, some people are not ready. And we're all ready at different times. I had a time in my life, recently, where I just had to realize that some people aren't ready. And that's okay. Not everybody is on the same journey as us. Not everybody is at the same frequency as us. And it doesn't mean we have to get rid of them. It just means we're on a different path. And that's okay. So, how do we start to release the nervous system? First and foremost is calming the nervous system. Now, women, we've heard the buzzword cortisol, cortisol, cortisol. Yes, that's your stress gene. So anytime your nervous system is activated or rises, it's going to release cortisol. Now, cortisol obviously makes it more difficult, especially when you're in midlife, to start losing weight. It can take over the body. And that's where you see a lot of women when they're puffy, they have a hard time losing weight. They look very dark circles, long, because their nervous system is saying, I'm done. I'm maxed out. And so the fastest way to bring the cortisol levels down and start to rewire that nervous system is to find things to relax. Boxed breathing is something that was huge for me. And I used to do 3-7-8, 4-7-8, all the different numbers. Now I've just found my own pace, which is you always want to do a short inhale, a hold, and a long exhale. The long exhale is actually where the nervous system starts to calm and know it's safe. This is actually something they practice in the Marines, from what I understand, so that when they're in combat, when something happens, this is something they can do to quickly calm their nervous system so they don't activate. And so that's going to be breathe in for 4. You're going to hold it for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you exhale for 8, not 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you do that a few times and you'll start to feel the activation come down. I've actually seen in the past some folks that are on stage, our press secretaries in the past, speakers, you will actually see them physically do this when they're having activated conversations. A lot of leaders in politics do it. A lot of leaders in business do it because we're human. Things trigger us and we're triggered every day. And something that I am constantly being reminded is that anything I feel, anything that triggers me has absolutely nothing to do with anyone but me. It's the universe's way and God's way of showing me, hey, this is what you need to work on. That's why it's bothering you. You can only see in others what you have in yourself or what you've experienced in the past. And so the second way to really calm your nervous system is to find out where in your body you're holding the energy. Yes, those tight muscles, that tight fascia, those shoulders that haven't relaxed since you were 10 years old, had them. I mean, all of that, guys, it's not because you're not good to your body. A lot of us exercise, eat well, and we still are like tense balls of muscle and fascia. And that's because we've stored this stuff in our bodies. And what we have to do then is we just have to start feeling it. So when you feel tightness, breathe into it. Ask yourself, where does this pain come from? Where is it from? When was it created? I know it sounds a little nuts, guys, but I promise you, your brains are way smarter than you give them credit for. And they remember a lot more when they're ready and when you're safe. So when you're having a meditation or a quiet time or at night when you're getting ready for bed, do a body scan. Where are you holding weight? Where is your nervous system holding energy? And have a conversation with it. Yes, I know that sounds nuts, but it's a living thing in your body and it's blocking your energy. It's blocking flow and it's making you tense. That's your nervous system. So, again, it takes about 6 to 12 months to rewire the nervous system. And remember that neurons that wire together, fire together. And that's all this is about, is getting your neurons to think differently. And I'll end with this. I had a couple people this week that had some really, really big decisions that they had to face. One of my clients had a devastating loss, a devastating loss. And she said to me, Bryn, if we had not done the work that you and I have been doing over the last year and a half with my nervous system, I don't know if I would have handled it. And I'm telling you guys, this stuff works. And you didn't wire your nervous system. Most of the choices weren't yours. Now, we're all adults. They're ours now to change. But I had someone else that had a really, really big task ahead of her, something that she needed to do that was huge. It was a weight that she had been carrying. It was a relationship that she was very entangled with. It was not healthy. And I said to her, this is a big decision, but it's these decisions that rewire the nervous system, because we prove to the nervous system that we can go through whatever it is we're afraid of, letting the person go, stepping out of the job, stepping away, doing more for all the things that we're afraid of, all those things. When you overcome them and step through them, you prove to your nervous system that you can deal with it and you're safe. I had a big one happen last year where I walked away from a huge relationship, big one, but yet I proved to myself that I could walk away from relationships that were not healthy for me in this season and I would still be okay. And now it's a lot easier to look at my relationships and know which ones feel good for my nervous system, which ones are aligned, and which ones are not where I need to be right now. So, guys, have a great week. I'm going to be talking about their nervous system all week on Facebook. We'll be doing reels, we'll be in posts. Oh, one more thing. I'm going to start a new thing. It's 12:12 on my timer, so whatever that angel number is, go look it up. But I'm going to start doing a new thing. I'm going to do a question Q&A, ask the coach in every one of these calls. So you can DM me a question, put one in the comments, or go to brindleytucker.com, sign up for my newsletter about 3/4 of the page down, and submit a question to our weekly newsletter. My weekly newsletter goes out every Wednesday. It's not spam. It's not there to sell you anything. It's truly just to teach and add value and help you see the world in a different way. We'll see you next week. Bye.